A very young, lovely lady sitting in a corner with her two friends, and went over and said hello. It was love ever after. And she wasn't a cheerleader, and she wasn't partying.
Did she leave her glasses at home?
No, she wasn't that old at that time.
Mary, tell us about your significant other. Well, we love hearing it. Tell us again.
I met him when I came to this country. I came to work with his parents. A couple of years later, we were married.
Okay. Antonio?
I told my story last week.
Yeah. But not everybody was here, Antonio.
Yes. Tell it again.
Tell them the short version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go into detail.
No.
Well, he's got to pull them out.
Okay, Dave, you tell us your story.
I met Stephanie on Christmas night at a party at a friend's house up in the country in Diamond Bar. And I went to this party with two of my crazy friends because we had already finished opening our gifts. I was 23 years old, 24. And Stephanie was there with her boyfriend. Who is this little snotty-nosed, 4 years younger than I did.
I hate him already.
Me and my buddies went because there was going to be a lot of alcohol there. And so we were sitting there shooting the bull and drinking, and I noticed this girl was always like sitting by herself. So she was probably heading to the restroom when we stopped her and started talking to her.
Good job, Dave. Good job.
I handled most of the conversation, of course. I'm pretty good at that. But that's how we met that night, and me and my buddies decided we wanted to go to another party or go somewhere else. So we were leaving, and luckily I drank enough. And I walked out the door, and I was halfway down the cart path, and I said, wait a sec. And I ran back in there, and I walked up to her, and I said, would you like to go out? And she says, no, I have a boyfriend. I said, yeah, I can tell. And I actually said that, because he was totally ignoring her, but he was this little snotty-nosed kid, and I'm sure he was afraid of me.
I'm sure he was a little guy.
Yeah. So, anyways, he was in my sister's class, so that's how I know of him. Anyways, so I go back to dental school, and first day of dental school, right after New Year's, a buddy of mine walks in and hands me a note and says, Stephanie wants you to call her. Here's her number.
And so the rest is history.
Yeah, and so it just so happened, Stephanie used to work at Judy's in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the girls that she worked with, her brother was in my dental class.
Wow.
And so that's how I got.
Good job, Dave. You stole it. You stole it.
And the second time. Go ahead. You're up.
Well, I actually met my beautiful wife the date I went into the bank and opened a bank account. And so she was there, helped us, my former boss and myself. And so after that, I just kept calling her because my boss was a little bit, just saying that he was needy and had to charge his cell phone, making phone calls and everything. And she went through all this trouble and she was very helpful. And I said to her, well, I guess we owe you a dinner. Nice. And she claims to say, I don't remember that part, but she said, she said, you don't owe me one, you owe me 2 dinners. Okay. And so I called her back, and I kept calling her until she actually gave me her cell phone number, and then I called her right after, and we went out like that weekend.
Wow.
So.
All right.
Cool.
Yay.
Yes, Frank.
About 59 and a half years ago, I met this lady at a dance at a high school. Very extremely shy gal. I saw her standing there with a bunch of girls, and I decided, well, there was another gal in that group that I wanted to dance with, not her. And when I extended my arm out to have her come and dance with me, she's the one that came, it was not the other gal. She came to me. He was fishing. Thinking I was going to dance, which of course, as a gentleman, I wasn't going to refuse her. Naturally, I placed her in my arm, very soft music. However, this gal of mine, this lovely woman of mine, was a very nervous gal. I told her this is a soft one. Ballad. She was shaking like a leaf.
You do that to all the women, Frank. It doesn't matter. 60 years ago or now. It really doesn't
Weak in the
matter.
knees.
Long story short, anyway, she wouldn't let me go. And we've been together for 59 years. Anyway, that's where we met.
Wow. Wonderful.
Well, you want to tell your story?
You're up.
My story?
Yes.
My story doesn't have an end.
Oh, that's beautiful.
What's that mean?
Oh.
I don't know, but it was
That
beautiful.
means I'm still married. I worked in a grocery store back in upstate New York. I was the assistant manager in the grocery department. I was 19 years old, and she applied for a job as a cashier. So we worked in the same place for a few years, and I was very shy and introverted then, so I never asked her out. But a friend of mine asked her if she would go out with me, and she agreed. And it was on Thanksgiving Eve, so we went out, and of course, being brought up the old-fashioned way that you didn't hold hands, you didn't do nothing. It was a shy evening for me. But we got to know each other as friends, and 3 years later, maybe 3.5 years later, she said, we've been seeing each other long enough. We've got to end this. I said, what are you talking about? She says, you know what I mean. I'm wasting my time. I'm getting old. I said, you mean you want to get married? She says, yeah. So she proposed marriage. She proposed marriage. In fact, that year I had 2 other proposals of marriage. Back then, women were desperately in need of a husband, I guess. If you weren't married by the time you were 18 or 19 years old, you thought you were an old lady. So I don't know whether I felt sorry for her, but I agreed to marry her, and we got married, and that was a long time ago. Not as long as Frank. That was a long time ago.
Wonderful.
And all these years, I love the same woman. But the problem is, my wife found out about it. You're next.
Okay, who's next?
Okay, I'm next.
Okay.
Lorraine. Okay, my husband is related to one of my best friends, and they were. Let me start over. Okay, my best friend dated my husband's cousin, and we were friends. And I had another boyfriend, and I was going to school and getting some stuff together, and broke up with my husband, with my boyfriend. Didn't realize my husband was interested in me, and asked me out, and we dated for 3 years, and then we got married, and now we've been married 27 years, and we have 3 kids.
I was on a blind date, and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was interested in getting into pharmacy school, and I wanted to experience what it was going to be like to be a pharmacist, and so I weaseled my way into a big hospital pharmacy, talked to the director, and said, "Hey, you know what? I need experience. I want to volunteer here." The guy gave me this opportunity. Eventually, he gave me a job. And Kelly, my wife, was interning as a pharmacy student. I think she was third year at the pharmacy at the time. So what happened was that she became my boss.
Oh!
And then, like, what I like to say is, yeah, and nothing has changed. That's how we met.
Yolanda.
Me? Well, I met Donald. Actually, we were my first year of school at SC. He had already been there, and a girlfriend of mine was going to go and type somebody's paper. At that time, she could type 120 words per minute on an old-fashioned, young people don't know, an old-fashioned manual typewriter, 120 words per minute.
120?
Yeah. So it was, back in the day where SC wasn't really as developed as it is now, and it was late at night, and I said, well, you can't be going to the boys' dorm, because there was boys and girls at that time. It's not all co-ed like it is now. You can't go by yourself, so I'll go and accompany you. I will be your protector. So we went across, and I didn't even know who she was going to go do the paper for. It happened to be Donald, and he had his fellow Jamaican roommate there, and so I sat down, and the whole time she typed his 6-page paper in like 5 minutes or something. I mean, it was just miraculous, and that's really how we met. Didn't say a word to each other. He didn't say a word to me. He didn't say, but the room was very neat and.
But he's so loud and boisterous as it is.
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great.
Well, as I had mentioned, we met at church. However, specifically, I was teaching a course at the church, and this goes back not 59 years, but at least a couple of years back, where I was teaching a course, and I was good friends with Marina's sister and her brother-in-law from the church, obviously. And apparently, she convinced her to attend my workshop, and I'm embarrassed to say, I was such a numbskull. She actually, she later on explained to me that she was interested in me for about a year's time, and I never picked up on it.
You're slow. You're dim-witted.
Thank God all of that changed eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, Forrest, get to tell us
Forrest.
Dr. Tennant.
Well, about 45 years ago, I was a senior medical student at Kansas University, and I was on a rotation in pediatrics at the Kansas City Children's Hospital. And I was in the Army. I was there courtesy of the United States Army, and I was on this pediatric rotation and noticed this lovely girl walking through the hall bus. And it turned out that I cleaned out my locker, and I was getting ready to ship out to a veterans hospital. I knew I would never be back. So I figured I'll just go up and ask her for a date. I've never talked to her, never said one word to her before.
Or did you get lucky?
And she said yes, and we went out that night. That was 45 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
I made a boo-boo, and I'm scared that you guys might run across my wife. It's not 69 years, 59 years. I think I said.
Yo, you said 59. 59.
How many years did I say?
59.
Oh, that's good. I'm not even 69 years old.